Today we are going to discuss about the generation of amplitude modulated signals. In our previous classes we already discussed about different types of amplitude modulation techniques. And now here under this generation of amplitude modulated signals topic we are going to consider the generation of those amplitude modulated signals that we have seen in our previous classes. So here we will discuss about the generation of basic amplitude modulated signal or our double sideband full carrier signal. Then we will discuss about the generation of double sideband suppressed carrier signal. Then we will discuss about the generation of single sideband signal, and then we will discuss about the generation of vestigial sideband signal. Let's first consider the case of generation of AM signal or the generation of our basic amplitude modulated signal or the generation of double sideband full carrier signal. There are different methods used for the generation of AM signal, and here we are going to consider two of such methods, and that methods include first one by using an analog multiplier and second one by using a nonlinear resistance device. So first consider the case of generation of AM signal by using an analog multiplier, and this type of modulator is also called a product modulator. And this is the block diagram for the product modulator, or this is the block diagram for AM generation by using analog multiplier. When we consider this block diagram, here we have an analog multiplier and a summing section. When we consider this analog multiplier, one input to this analog multiplier is Vm. This Vm is our message signal, and we know this Vm is equal to Vm sin omega mt. And the second input to this analog multiplier is Vc, and this is our carrier signal, and we know Vc is equal to Vc sin omega ct. So at the output of the analog multiplier we will get this Vm into Vc. Then when we consider this Vm Vc term, this term actually represents our double sideband suppressed carrier signal. That means this Vm Vc consists of upper sideband plus lower sideband components. Then when we consider basic amplitude modulated signal, it consists of three components: upper sideband, lower sideband and full carrier component. So to get an AM signal we need to add the carrier component to this VMVC. So for that we are using this summing section. Okay, so one input to this summing junction is this VMVC, and the second input is the carrier component VC. So at the output of this summing junction we will get VC plus VMVC. Okay, so this VC represents our carrier component, and this VMVC consists of lower sideband plus upper sideband components. So this Vc plus VMVC corresponds to our basic amplitude modulated signal. So by using this analog multiplier and this summing junction we can generate this amplitude modulated signal. Let's now check whether this VMVC consists of lower sideband and upper sideband components. So for that consider this analog multiplier. Then as I said earlier, the output of this analog multiplier is this Vm into Vc. Okay, so the output of the analog multiplier is marked as V dash. So V dash is equal to this Vm into Vc, and we know this small Vm is equal to capital Vm sin omega mt. Then this small Vc is equal to capital Vc into sin omega ct. Okay, so this small Vm into small Vc is equal to Vm sin omega mt into Vc sin omega ct. Then this one is equal to Vm into Vc into sin omega ct into sin omega mt. Then we know sin A into sin B is equal to cos A minus B minus cos A plus B divided by 2. So by using this relation we can replace this sin omega ct into sin omega mt as cos omega c minus omega m into t minus cos omega c plus omega m into t divided by 2. Then we can write this V dash equation as this V dash is equal to VMVC into cos omega c minus omega m into t minus cos omega c plus omega m into t divided by 2. Okay, then from this we can write VMVC divided by 2 into cos omega c minus omega m into t minus Vm Vc divided by 2 into cos omega c plus omega m into t. Then we know our modulation index m is equal to Vm by Vc. And from this we can write Vm is equal to m into Vc. Then in this equation for this Vm substitute m Vc. Then we will get this V dash is equal to m Vc into Vc divided by 2 into cos omega c minus omega m into t minus mvc into Vc divided by 2 into cos omega c plus omega m into t. Then from these two components we can take this common Vc outside and we can write this one as V dash is equal to Vc into mvc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t minus mvc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. So when we consider this portion, this is our lower sideband component and this is our upper sideband component. Then this lower sideband and upper sideband component terms are multiplied by using this Vc. So this one is just like these terms are multiplied by using a gain term. Okay, so this lower sideband and upper sideband components are multiplied by using this gain term Vc because this Vc is a constant value. So from this equation we can see that Vm into Vc consists of our lower sideband and upper sideband component. And since this Vc is providing an additional gain to this lower sideband and upper sideband component, there is no need to remove this Vc term. But if we want, we can remove this Vc term by using a voltage divider circuit. Normally, we don't have to remove this Vc term because this Vc term is providing an additional gain to this lower sideband and upper sideband component. Okay, so by using this analog multiplier at the output of the analog multiplier, we got that lower sideband and upper sideband component. Now, to get that amplitude modulated signal, we need to add that carrier component to that VMVC signal. Okay, so by using this summing junction, we will add that carrier component to this VMVC, or we will add that carrier component to this one. So at the output of that summing junction, we will get our AM signal as that V is equal to Vc plus Vm into Vc, or Vam is equal to Vc plus Vm into Vc, and that is equal to Vc sin omega ct. This small vc is Vc sin omega ct, our carrier component, and this Vm into Vc consists of our lower sideband and upper sideband component. Actually, this Vm into Vc consists of that Vc into this one. Okay, and if that Vc value is 1, then that VMVC is exactly equal to this lower sideband plus upper sideband component. Okay, so by using that analog multiplier and summing junction, we got the requisite amplitude modulated signal. And this is the simplest method for the generation of amplitude modulated signal, because here we are just using this analog multiplier and a summing junction. At the output of the analog multiplier, we will get that double sideband suppressed carrier signal, and we are just adding that carrier component to that double sideband suppressed carrier signal to get our required amplitude modulated signal. Okay. Now we are going to consider the second method for the generation of amplitude modulated signal, and that is by using a nonlinear resistance device. Before going to the modulated circuit, let's first consider the case of nonlinear resistance. We know the relationship between voltage and current in a linear resistance is given by I is equal to B into V, where this B is some constant of proportionality, and if the above equation refers to a resistor, then B is obviously its conductance, because we know I is equal to conductance into voltage, or current is equal to conductance into voltage. Then when we consider a nonlinear resistance, in a nonlinear resistance the current is still to a certain extent proportional to the applied voltage, but no longer directly as before. And when we consider the curve of current versus voltage in a nonlinear resistance, it will be like this. And from this we can now found that there is some curvature in it. Okay, and the previous linear relation seems to apply to certain point, after which the current increases more or less rapidly with voltage. this one is for positive coefficient and this one is for negative coefficient. Okay, so this one is for positive C and this one is for negative C. So from this nonlinear resistance characteristics, it is clear that the I and V relation is linear up to a certain point, and after that there will be some curvature, and this curvature is due to the nonlinearity of that resistor. So in this case, in this nonlinear resistance case, the current now becomes proportional not only to voltage but also to the square, cube and higher powers of voltage. So in the case of nonlinear resistance, the current to voltage relation is not like this. We can represent that current to voltage relation by using another expression. Let's consider that expression. As I said earlier, the current in the case of nonlinear resistance is now becomes proportional not only to voltage but also to the square, cube and higher powers of the voltage, and that nonlinear relation is most conveniently expressed as I or current is equal to A plus BV plus CV square plus DV cube plus higher powers. Then when we consider that graph, the reason that the initial portion of the graph is linear is simply that the coefficient C is much smaller than B. When we consider that graph, its initial portion is linear, okay, and the curvature starts from here, okay, and the reason for this linear portion is simply that the coefficient C is much smaller than B. Okay, this coefficient C is much smaller than this coefficient B. To get a clear idea about it, consider an example. Consider a typical numerical equation. I is equal to 5 plus 15V plus 0.2 V square. And in this case, the curvature is insignificant until voltage equals at least 3. Because when we consider this equation, here the constant C is very much less compared to constant B. And here we can see that when the voltage is 1, this term is 0.2. And when the voltage is 2, this term is 2 square into 0.2. That means 4 into 0.2, that is 0.8. And that values are less than 1. So we can neglect that small values. So initially this portion is very much less, and hence we can neglect this value, and hence that initial portion of the graph will be linear, because in that initial portion the current is proportional to V only. And here we can see when the voltage is 3 or greater than 3, this term goes above 1. When the value of V is 3, this will be 3 square, so 9, and here we will get 0.2 into 9, that is 1.8. So that value goes above 1, so we cannot neglect that value, and hence when the voltage V is 3 or greater than 3, I is proportional to V and V square. Okay, so since the coefficient C is much smaller than B, in that nonlinear resistance characteristics, initially that characteristics will be linear, and that nonlinear portion, that curvature portion will come only after a particular voltage value, and here that curvature shape comes after this 3 voltage. Okay, then only the square term is large enough to be taken into consideration for most applications. So I is equal to A plus BV plus CV square, because when we consider the D coefficient that comes next, that D coefficient is very much small value, then the higher coefficient values are also very small values. So we can neglect that higher coefficient portions, and only the square term is large enough to be taken into consideration for most of the applications. So here in this nonlinear resistance case, we are going to consider the current voltage relation as I is equal to A plus BV plus CV square, where this A represents some DC component and this B represents the conductance and C is the coefficient of nonlinearity. When this C is 0, we will get the linear relation, and if this C is not 0, then the relationship between current and voltage will be nonlinear. And this A actually represents some constant value, some constant DC value, or we can say that offset current value. Under normal condition, this A will be 0. Okay. It is actually used to indicate that initial offset value if that is present. If that DC component is present, then when we consider this graph, it will not start from 0, it will start from that offset value. If that offset value A is at this point, then this graph will start from this point. Okay. Now when we consider this equation is adequate in relating the output current to the input voltage of a nonlinear resistance, and it can be used for studying the AM signal generation process by a device that exhibit nonlinear resistance. The devices like diodes, transistors and field effect transistors can be biased with suitable voltage to constrain them to exhibit the negative resistance property. Now we are going to consider the generation of AM signal by using nonlinear resistance device. So we are going to study our second method for the generation of AM signal, which is the generation of AM signal by using nonlinear resistance characteristics of the diode. And this type modulator is also called a square law modulator. Then when we consider this circuit, in this circuit the modulating voltage Vm and carrier voltage Vc are applied in series at the input of the diode. Okay. And the output of the diode is collected via a tuned circuit tuned to the carrier frequency with bandwidth of twice the message bandwidth. So since it is tuned to twice the message bandwidth, at the output we will get frequencies from Fc minus Fm to Fc plus Fm, including that Fc component. So at the output we will get that lower sideband component, carrier component and upper sideband component. Let's now check how we will get that amplitude modulated signal at the output. Here this diode is biased such that it exhibits the negative resistance property, and under this condition its output current is given by I is equal to A plus B into Vm plus Vc plus C into Vm plus Vc square, because we know under the nonlinear condition the relation between current and voltage is I is equal to A plus BV plus CV square, and here we are applying that modulating voltage Vm and carrier voltage Vc in series to the input of the diode. So our input voltage is Vm plus Vc. Okay. So the current of this nonlinear resistance device will be I is equal to A plus B into that voltage Vm plus Vc plus C into that voltage square. So Vm plus Vc square. Okay. Then we know this Vm is capital Vm sin omega mt and this Vc is capital Vc sin omega ct. So I am going to substitute that values for this small Vm and small Vc. So we will get this I is equal to A plus B into Vm sin omega mt plus Vc sin omega ct plus C into Vm sin omega mt plus Vc sin omega ct square. Now I am going to expand this term. When we consider this term, here it is in the form of A plus B whole square. So I can expand this to A square plus B square plus 2AB. Okay. So we will get I is equal to A plus B into Vm sin omega mt plus Vc sin omega ct plus C into Vm square sin square omega mt plus Vc square sin square omega ct plus 2 Vm Vc sin omega mt into sin omega ct. Then when we consider these terms, here we have sin square omega t term and here we have sin omega mt into sin omega ct term. So here I am going to apply these two trigonometric relations. We know sin square x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x divided by 2 and sin x sin y is equal to cos of x minus y minus cos of x plus y divided by 2. So I am going to apply this relation here and I am going to apply this relation here. So I am going to replace this sin square omega mt as 1 minus cos 2 omega mt by 2. And this sin square omega ct can be replaced by 1 minus cos 2 omega ct by 2. And this sin omega mt into sin omega ct can be replaced by cos omega c minus omega m into t minus cos omega c plus omega m into t divided by 2. So this equation will be I is equal to this A plus B into Vm sin omega mt plus Vc sin omega ct plus C into Vm square divided by 2 into 1 minus cos 2 omega mt plus this Vc square divided by 2 into 1 minus cos 2 omega ct, then plus this 2 Vmvc divided by 2 into cos omega c minus omega m into t minus cos omega c plus omega m into t. Then these two will get cancel each other. Then I am going to expand all these terms by removing the brackets. Okay, then we will get I is equal to A plus B Vm sin omega mt plus B Vc sin omega ct plus C Vm square by 2 minus C Vm square by 2 cos 2 omega mt plus C Vc square by 2 minus C Vc square by 2 cos 2 omega ct plus C Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t. Now from this equation I am going to group some terms. First I am going to group the constant terms, or I am going to group the DC components. So when we consider these terms, here this A is a constant term, then this C Vm square by 2 is a constant term, then this C Vc square by 2 is a constant term. So I am going to group that three terms together. Then I will get I is equal to A plus C Vm square by 2 plus C Vc square by 2. So this is our first term. Then here we have this B Vm sin omega mt and B Vc sin omega ct. So I am going to write that terms next. So here we have B Vm sin omega mt plus B Vc sin omega ct. Then I am going to group these two terms together. Okay, so by grouping these two terms I will get minus of C Vm square by 2 cos 2 omega mt plus C Vc square by 2 cos 2 omega ct. So that is our next term, minus of C Vm square by 2 cos 2 omega mt plus C Vc square by 2 cos 2 omega ct. Then here we have these two terms remaining, C Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t, and that two remaining terms are written here, C Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t. So we have that current I is equal to A plus C Vm square by 2 plus C Vc square by 2 plus B Vm sin omega mt plus B Vc sin omega ct minus of C Vm square by 2 cos 2 omega mt plus C Vc square by 2 cos 2 omega ct plus C Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t. Now when we consider this relation, here the first term is a DC component. This A plus C Vm square by 2 plus C Vc square by 2 is a DC component, and this second term is message. We know our information signal is Vm sin omega mt, and here that message signal is multiplied by a coefficient. Okay, so this second term represents our message signal. Now this third term is our carrier signal. We know our carrier signal is Vc sin omega ct, and here that term is multiplied by using coefficient B. So this term represents our message and this term represents our carrier signal. Now when we consider this term, this fourth term contains harmonics of message and carrier. So here we can see the frequency is 2 omega mt and here the frequency is 2 omega ct. So actually this term contains the harmonics of message and carrier signal. Okay, now when we consider this fifth term, it represents the lower sideband. when we consider this term, here we have that Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t. So this term represents our lower sideband, and the sixth term represents our upper sideband, because here we have Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t. Okay, so when we consider this current, it consists of a DC component, a message component, a carrier component, harmonics of message and carrier, our lower sideband and our upper sideband. Then we know our AM signal consists of only three components: the carrier component, lower sideband component and upper sideband component. Then the requisite AM components can be selected by using the tuning circuit that resonates at the carrier frequency with a bandwidth equal to twice the message bandwidth. So from that current I, we are selecting our required components by using this tuning circuit. Okay, so our requisite AM components from this I is selected by using this tuning circuit that resonates at the carrier frequency with a bandwidth equal to twice the message bandwidth. So at the output we will get that Fc minus Fm frequency, Fc frequency and Fc plus Fm frequency. Since the bandwidth is twice the message bandwidth and the center frequency is Fc, at the output of the tuning circuit we will get that Fc minus Fm to Fc plus Fm including that Fc frequency. Okay, and all the remaining components are removed. So at the output of this tuning circuit we will get the current I is equal to B Vc sin omega Ct plus C Vm Vc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C Vm Vc cos omega c plus omega m into t, and all the remaining components are removed. This term and this term are removed. Okay, and at the output of the tuning circuit we will get only these three terms. So at the output of the tuning circuit we will get the current I is equal to this one. Then we can convert that current I to our required voltage by passing it through resistance R, which is our load resistance. Okay, so if R is the load resistance, then the amplitude modulated voltage is given by this V, or voltage is equal to I into R, current into resistance. Okay, so this one into resistance. So we will get this is equal to B R Vc sin omega Ct, and we know B is conductance. So B into R, or conductance into resistance, is 1. Okay, so I is equal to Vc sin omega Ct, that B into R is 1. Okay, so when we multiply this one with R, it will be Vc sin omega Ct. Then when we multiply this one with R, it will be C R Vc into Vm cos omega c minus omega m into t minus C R Vc into Vm cos omega c plus omega m into t. Then we know Vm is equal to m into Vc. So I am going to substitute m into Vc for this Vm. Then we will get V is equal to Vc sin omega Ct plus CRVc into mVc cos omega c minus omega m into t minus CRVc into mVc cos omega c plus omega m into t. Now we know when we consider our lower sideband component, it is mVc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t, and our upper sideband component is mVc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. So to get that relation here, I am going to multiply this term with 2 and dividing this term with 2. Okay, and also I am going to multiply this term with 2 and also dividing this term with 2. Then I can rewrite this equation as V is equal to Vc sin omega Ct plus CRVc into 2 into mVc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t minus CRVc into 2 into mVc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. Let's consider that equation. So we have V is equal to IR is equal to Vc sin omega Ct plus CRVc into 2 into mVc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t minus CRVc into 2 into mVc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. Now I am going to represent this 2 CRVC as C dash. Okay, then I will get V is equal to I into R is equal to VC sin omega CT plus C dash MVC by 2 cos omega C minus omega M into T minus C dash MVC by 2 cos omega C plus omega M into T, where that C dash is equal to 2CRVC. So when we consider this equation has the standard AM signal components. It consists of the carrier component, lower sideband component and the upper sideband component. So this is our required AM signal. Okay, so I am going to represent this one as VAM. Okay, so in this way we can generate the AM signal with the help of a device that exhibits nonlinear resistance property, and this modulator is also called a square law modulator. And here in the place of this diode we can use any component that exhibits the nonlinear resistance property.